Life is replete with unexpected twists that defy prediction. As I sat in the small hotel room that evening, I found myself lost in thought, accompanied only by Gary. The absence of my husband Logan, who has been in another city for the past few months, has left me feeling quite tense. I missed him undoubtedly, yet it transcended the mere absence of his presence. It was his indifference, his disinterest, that constituted the true issue. The solitude of the nights gnawed at the very essence of my being. Yet, how could I have anticipated that requesting my stepson Gary to accompany me to visit Dad would culminate in our confinement within a cramped hotel room, a mere space with a solitary bed? Unbeknownst to me, a moment of unforeseen consequence loomed on the horizon. Allow me to recount the tale from its inception, capturing each and every nuance. Believe me, the conclusion of this tale will unfold in a manner far more thrilling than you could ever anticipate. That morning, as I stepped out of the house, I caught a fleeting reflection of myself in the mirror. I felt the tension coursing through me, yet I managed to maintain an air of elegance. Despite Logan's departure leaving me in solitude, I remained aware of my desirability, still pulsating with the essence of life. Yet, even those emotions had lost their power. They no longer fulfilled me. As Gary savored the last bites of his breakfast in the kitchen, I called out to him from behind. As the summer draws to a close and college approaches, it's essential to refine your driving skills. Let's go meet your father. He gazed up at me, that familiar mischievous grin playing on his lips as it always did. Gary was a charming boy, full of whimsy and humor, yet he had a knack for stirring up mischief now and then. "All right, stepmom," he said with a playful grin, "but only if you convince Dad to get me a better car for the summer." "We'll talk about it," I said, my voice cutting through the air as I hurried him along. Yet, within the confines of my mind, I found myself contemplating, let us simply conclude this journey. Yet, I was utterly unaware that the journey would take an unexpected turn. After 2 hours on the road, we continued our journey. In the back seat, I found myself absorbed in my phone, while Gary filled the air with his off-key hums to a tune playing on the radio. Every so often, he would toss out a silly joke, each one eliciting a chuckle from himself, though the humor seemed lost on the rest of us. Suddenly, the car emitted a dreadful hiss, and just like that, it came to a complete stop. "What is unfolding?" I inquired, making an effort to keep my composure. "I think the car broke down," Gary muttered, pulling over to the side of the road, his annoyance palpable. In that moment, we found ourselves ensnared in the vast expanse of desolation. The signal on my phone flickered weakly, and not a single soul was in sight to offer assistance. For 2 long hours we engaged in a heated debate, reaching out to every mechanic we could locate, desperately attempting to mend the wretched contraption. At last, we were compelled to acknowledge the undeniable truth. Spending the night at the nearest motel was the sole choice available. At the motel reception, as Gary engaged in conversation with the man at the desk, I lingered behind him, seething with frustration. I couldn't help but think that if Logan caught wind of this, he would absolutely lose it. Yet, in that peculiar instant, I found that it didn't seem to hold much significance at all. In the depths of my being, an undeniable certainty whispered that this night would alter the course of everything. Before this tale takes an even wilder turn, be sure to subscribe to my channel and activate those notifications. You'll want to stay tuned for what comes next. Ultimately, I would greatly appreciate your support. Overflowed with comments and accompanied by those likes. As we approached the room and swung the door open, every hope I had shattered into a million pieces. The space was minuscule, scarcely allowing for a complete turn. A solitary bed, accompanied by a nightstand, beneath a dim, flickering overhead light that cast a dingy pallor over the room. The ceiling loomed low, the air conditioning struggled to provide relief, and the solitary window offered nothing but a view of the parking lot. "This is it," I whispered, a sense of disappointment washing over me. Gary strolled in behind me, chuckling softly. "What were your expectations? A luxurious 5-star establishment." "Take a deep breath, stepmom, it's merely one evening." Once more that playful inflection, that familiar grin. It drove me to the brink of madness, yet simultaneously ignited an inexplicable fire within me. Reluctantly, I found myself acknowledging that the prospect of spending the evening here alone with Gary wasn't as unappealing as I had initially thought. As I entered, I could hear Gary's laughter trailing in behind me. "Did you really think it would be a 5-star hotel? Our stay is but a fleeting moment, just one night. Take a breath, stepmom." The playful lilt in his voice, combined with that mischievous smile, only deepened my irritation. Yet, I found it difficult to claim that I completely despised Gary's easygoing, relaxed demeanor. His presence ignited a spark within me, an exhilarating sensation that I would never dare to confess. Yet it lingered just beneath the surface, elusive and intoxicating. "The oppressive heat is suffocating," I remarked, as I massaged the nape of my neck. "I believe a shower is in order, or I may very well succumb to the overwhelming fatigue." "Of course," Gary replied nonchalantly, flopping onto the bed and stretching out on his back. "This realm belongs to you, Carmen. Make yourself comfortable in any way that suits you." For a fleeting moment, I cast my gaze in his direction. His slender yet defined physique, combined with the subtle youthful quality of his features, bestowed upon him an intriguing allure. Yet, I swiftly endeavored to dispel the notion from my mind. He was, after all, the son of Logan, my stepson. As I entered the bathroom, I closed the door softly behind me. For a fleeting moment, I found myself captivated by the image staring back at me from the mirror. Despite the heat causing my hair to cling to my skin, I still managed to look good. The spark within me remained alive. As I turned on the shower, I allowed the water to cascade down, stepping beneath its soothing embrace, yearning for it to cleanse the tumult of emotions swirling within me. I am 47 years of age, I reflected, and Gary, well, he's no longer a child. At 22, on the brink of embarking on his college journey, we find ourselves confined within the cramped quarters of this hotel room for a few days. The notion stirred a blend of unease and exhilaration within me, an indescribable sensation that lingered in the air. Logan suddenly surfaced in my thoughts. "Logan, I had a delightful surprise in store for you. I long to be in your presence, to share moments together. Yet here I find myself, confined within this hotel room alongside your son, grappling with a whirlwind of emotions I can't quite decipher." The steam enveloped the small bathroom, a warm embrace that soothed my body while my thoughts whirled in a chaotic dance. Gary's grin and his easygoing nature ignited an unexpected spark within me. As I stood beneath the cascade of water, the nature of the spark eluded me, yet I sensed an undeniable shift in the air. Eventually, I made my way downstairs for dinner, seeking to clear my mind a little. I slipped into a delicate, airy dress. It was ideal for the warmth, yet it also brought a sense of comfort to my being. I found myself attempting to dispel this peculiar tension that lingered in the air. The hotel restaurant exuded a charming simplicity, perfectly suited for its modest size. I requested a light meal accompanied by a glass of wine, anticipating that it would soothe my senses. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting a gentle twilight, while the streetlights outside the hotel began to illuminate the evening with their soft glow. As I sat there, my thoughts inevitably drifted back to the room above. I found myself pondering the current endeavors of Gary. For someone so vibrant and brimming with energy, being confined to a small room likely felt like a stifling prison. Yet, there was something about his relaxed demeanor, so effortless and carefree, that was driving me to the brink of madness in a manner I couldn't fully articulate. As the last drop of wine slipped away, I cast one last look at my plate before ascending the stairs, each step deliberate and unhurried. Upon entering the room, an enveloping silence greeted me. As I swung the door open, the scene before me took my breath away, leaving me momentarily speechless. Gary, fresh from the shower, lay sprawled on the bed, clad only in a robe, utterly unconscious. His partially unfastened robe exposed the contours of his lean, athletic physique. His damp hair tumbled over his forehead, and a faint smile graced his lips, as if he were lost in a dream. My heart began to race. It was the final surprise that awaited me upon entering. For a fleeting moment I stood still by the door, caught in a web of uncertainty about my next move. Within me, a peculiar blend of emotions stirred. Embarrassment washed over me, yet my gaze remained irresistibly drawn to him. "Carmen, what on earth are you doing? That is the son of Logan." I chastised myself within, yet my gaze faltered, irresistibly drawn to the section of his robe that had slipped further ajar. What I witnessed ignited a gentle warmth within me. The cramped dimensions of the room only exacerbated the situation. There existed no other bed. It was a choice between curling up beside him or enduring the long hours ahead in a chair. In this sweltering heat, the mere idea of a chair felt utterly unattainable. I entered the room with deliberate slowness, the steady rhythmic sound of Gary's breathing enveloping the atmosphere. As I inhaled deeply, striving for clarity, the tumult within me rendered coherent thought an elusive dream. I needed to gather my composure. "Very well, Carmen," I whispered under my breath. "It's merely a single night, nothing beyond that. This holds no significance. I had a plan to surprise Logan, but now I find myself in a predicament. Embrace reason. Maintain your composure." I approached the bed, my gaze fixed on Gary. The pure look upon his face only served to further entangle my already chaotic thoughts. I perched on the edge of the bed, lost in thought about how I would navigate the hours ahead. In the stillness of the night, a gentle sound roused me from my slumber. With a hesitant flutter, I cracked my eyelids, allowing a sliver of light to seep in as I surveyed the surroundings. I observed Gary adjusting his position on the bed. He appeared to be in a daze, his fingers weaving through his hair as he gently scratched his head. I caught myself observing him, yet I maintained a facade of drowsiness, keeping my eyes only half open. Yet within me a storm raged, far from the tranquility I outwardly portrayed. In that moment I sensed it, his gaze fixed upon me. My heart began to race. He observed me intently. I endeavored to uphold the facade, preserving the drowsy expression upon my visage and remaining motionless, yet within me, a whirlwind of vitality surged. Released the fastening of his garment. As it fell away, the robe cascaded from his shoulders, unveiling more of his sculpted physique. The subtle movement of his muscles with each motion ignited an unexpected warmth within me. I found myself unable to resist. At that instant I became aware of two profound truths. I found myself swept away by the current of events, and a part of me was reluctant to intervene. Gary retrieved a pair of shorts from the depths of the wardrobe. As he proceeded, his eyes frequently darted back in my direction, as though he were attempting to discern my state of consciousness. His appearance stirred a deeper thrill within me. I struggled to conceal my emotions, yet simultaneously, I surrendered entirely to the moment's embrace. Once he slipped into his shorts, he chose not to return to the bed. Instead, he settled into the chair in the corner of the room and began to observe me intently. The intensity of the gaze upon me was both disconcerting and ignited an indescribable sensation deep within my core. I kept my eyes closed, feigning slumber, yet I wondered how much longer I could maintain this charade. At last, I reached my limit and propped myself up. As our gazes locked, I steadied my voice, ensuring it remained unwavering as I confessed, with unmasked emotion, "You're igniting a thrill within me, Gary." The weight of those words lingered in the atmosphere. In that instant, I realized that everything had irrevocably changed. Gary's gaze momentarily darted. Then he inhaled deeply and began to articulate his thoughts. "I don't know, Carmen," he said, his voice low yet unwavering. "For some time now, we have been sharing the same roof, ever since my father departed. As our moments together accumulate, so too does the depth of my feelings for you. Unbeknownst to you, there are moments when my admiration for you becomes impossible to conceal. At this moment, it seems as though I am caught in a surreal dream." His words took me by surprise, yet they ignited a spark within me. Gary's gaze remained steady, locking onto mine with a sincerity and fervor that utterly enthralled me. "I must rise early to have the car repaired," he continued, though his voice carried the weight of self-persuasion. Yet his gaze remained steadfast, unwavering in the slightest. "At this moment, my gaze is utterly captivated by you, Carmen. Such emotions are foreign to me." My heart raced with fervor. At that moment, I shifted to the edge of the bed and settled into the chair directly across from him. Our gazes intertwined, a silent connection forming between us. The connection we shared was so profound that words became unnecessary. We lingered in silence for a moment, and then I pursed my lips gently, locking my gaze onto him. "Gary," I said slowly, my voice laced with curiosity and a hint of uncertainty, "are we discussing the same matter?" Gary's gaze intensified, as if he wished to experience this moment through emotions rather than mere words. He remained silent, yet the expression in his eyes conveyed everything. In that moment, it became clear that we had crossed a threshold from which there was no return. As I gazed into his eyes, a powerful wave of bravery and irresistible longing surged within me. The blend of uncertainty and fervor in his gaze only propelled me onward. With a deep breath, I began to speak once more, my voice steady yet resolute, capturing his complete attention. "As I entered the room, I found you peacefully asleep. Your robe hung slightly ajar, and I found myself unable to look away from you. It affected me more deeply than I anticipated. These feelings are inescapable. It is a truth we both acknowledge." With my words lingering in the atmosphere, I stepped forward and gradually rose to my feet. His gaze tracked my every motion, his breath becoming more rapid. Excitement surged through me, an irresistible force I could not contain. As my fingers grazed the sash of my dress, I began to untie it with deliberate slowness, each motion eliciting a noticeable shift in his breathing. I believe I mentioned, my voice lowering to a hushed tone, that we must find a balance. "Gary." With deliberate care, I eased the zipper down the back of my dress. The fabric cascaded from my shoulders, gracefully descending to the floor. The crisp air caressing my skin intensified the fire that raged within me. The expression in his eyes conveyed everything. Astonishment, reverence, and an irresistible allure tugged at him. The stillness enveloping us transformed into a connection, our breaths intertwining seamlessly as we held each other's gaze. With deliberate intent, I advanced another step closer to him. In a hushed tone, I remarked, "Let us determine if we are indeed discussing the same matter." Gary's gaze remained fixed on me, his expression unwavering and brimming with intensity. In an instant, he rose to his feet, his eyes locked onto mine and flicked on the room light. The gentle illumination enveloped the space as he approached and secured the door. My heart began to race. In that instant, it seemed as though time itself had come to a standstill, isolating just the two of us in our own universe. As he advanced a step closer, I felt my breath hitch in my throat. He appeared to be attempting to decipher the depths of my gaze, Yet simultaneously, he was acutely conscious of the unspoken attraction that lingered in the air between us. As he approached, his hands settled on my waist, and the warmth of his touch surged through me like an electric current. Silently, he drew closer, his gaze fixated on my lips. I remained silent in my dissent. I was unable to. All of this unfolded with an effortless grace, as if it were destined to occur. As his lips finally brushed against mine, the tension within me dissolved completely. His kiss unfolded with a deliberate slowness, a journey of discovery, yet it brimmed with an unmistakable fervor. My hands instinctively found their way to his shoulders, enveloped by their strength and warmth. As our breaths intertwined, the distance that once separated us vanished entirely. That moment resonated with the intensity of all the unexpressed feelings lingering in the air between us. The vibrancy of Gary's youth intertwined with the profound passion I had nurtured throughout the years. It marked the dawn of an adventure, a moment filled with both fear and thrill. That night, the truth of our feelings for one another could no longer be concealed. I surrendered to the bed, my body weary, yet my thoughts surged like a tempest. My breath remained unsteady. The fabric of my dress lay on the floor, and my foot gently brushed against it. Gary's eyes were fixed on me, an intense and silent energy emanating from his stare. A moment later, he stooped to retrieve the dress, his fingers gently gliding over the spot where my foot had rested. That seemingly simple action ignited something within me. As he grasped the dress for a moment, I noticed a brief flicker of uncertainty cross his features. With determination swiftly taking its place, he set the dress aside. His hands glided to the edge of the bed. With measured steps, he ascended onto the mattress, each motion infused with caution and intent. As he approached, the look on his face revealed his emotions, a captivating blend of exhilaration and undeniable allure. As I reclined on the opposite side of the bed, I sensed Gary's proximity. My heart raced on, each beat echoing in my chest, while my breaths grew deeper and more deliberate. As he leaned in closer, it struck me that the space that once separated us had nearly vanished. Everything seemed to have arrived at a critical juncture. Retreat was not an option. The sensation that surged within me at that moment was nothing short of overwhelming. It both pained and thrilled me simultaneously. As I gazed upward, Gary's face came into view against the expanse of the ceiling. He captivated me as he gently swept his hair back from his forehead with a graceful motion of his hand. In his eyes, I could discern the emotions swirling within Gary. He was flushed with excitement, brimming with joy. His fervor was palpable, and I found myself deeply touched by the sight of him, breathless from his efforts. Gary had heightened my emotions to such an extent that I found myself relieved the car had broken down. "I'll never forget this hotel," Gary said, his voice trembling, each word escaping him like a weighty breath. His gaze was fixed upon me, yet a subtle tremor coursed through his hands. His body was taut, muscles coiling with each deliberate movement, as if he sought to preserve a fleeting memory. He expressed with certainty that he no longer wished for his father to sell the car. Following those words, he allowed himself to collapse beside me, shutting his eyes in silence, as he awaited the return of his breath. Fatigue enveloped me, leaving me devoid of the energy to utter a single word. My legs thrashed uncontrollably, and I was blissfully unaware of how I had drifted into slumber. The following morning, Gary arrived with the car repaired and informed me that we had to collect Logan and make our way to the city. As we traveled along the winding road, a swirl of regret and conflicting emotions enveloped me, yet beneath it all, a spark of excitement flickered within. As I gazed at Gary, his eyes, his movements, every aspect of him stirred something within me. All was shrouded in complexity, and yet the future remained an enigma to me. The conflict between the swirling questions in my mind and the thrill of anticipation left me in a state of indecision. One certainty lingered in my mind. This journey would mark the moment when everything transformed. If you've journeyed this far, it's clear that my tale has captured your interest. Be sure to stay connected, tap that follow button, enable notifications, and share your thoughts on this story in the comments below. I eagerly await your reflections.